What's up, you guys? Thank you for clicking on this video. So as you can tell by the title, the Studio Series line. I just want to talk about this, kind of romanticizing and just loving on the Studio Series subline for video, because I was thinking about this. I'm looking back on it. I'm looking at my collection of Studio Series figures, and I'm like, damn, a lot of the figures we have gotten over the last 5 or so years that have been amazing are from the Studio Series line. I mean, if you look past the clear plastic problems with some of these figures, generally Studio Series is really great in terms of figures and how they're made. Like, really the only main issue that I find is the clear plastic on deluxe figures and certain leaders and voyagers here and there. Other than that, I mean, you look at every Commander class release, they've been bangers, even though we haven't gotten ones for live action yet, which does suck. Still, great releases under Commander class. A lot of nice and well-built Leader class figures that have really fun side accessories, especially if we're looking at some of the earlier Leader classes from Studio Series. And the Studio Series 86 subline, banger after banger. There's been a couple mid ones like Cup. I think Perceptor and RC aren't really too amazing either. Mostly, that 86 subline has been killing it the last few years. And you go to the live action stuff, especially when we're talking about the Bayverse. I mean, talk about dreams coming true for a Bayverse kit. I mean, we finally got a Dino. We finally have a nice, accurate Sideways. We have streamlined figures for all the Bumblebees, basically, in the movies. When for years, I mean, they were kind of all over the place, especially in terms of scale. And you know, you look at the Megatrons. Those are nice and accurate and in perfect scale. I remember for years people were begging for a Leader class Dark of the Moon Megatron, and we finally got it in 2019, and it's really a great figure. I have it. You know, a Dark of the Moon Deluxe Soundwave finally released in the US in the main line after being like a Chinese exclusive for over a decade because of the last wave being canceled here in the States. You know, we're finally getting a Wheeljack next year when that was a Chinese exclusive basically after being canceled in that last wave. We finally have a complete streamlined team of the Wreckers after years of them being basically incomplete with certain size classes, or Leadfoot being, again, a Chinese exclusive due to that last wave being canceled back in 2011. Which, looking back on it, that was pretty crazy. I think I'm going to do a separate video on what led to that, because there's a lot of interesting info and history behind that last wave being canceled, which had a lot of bangers in it. I mean, that Human Alliance Soundwave, the Deluxe one, Deluxe Q, Deluxe Leadfoot. I think there was going to be a Dino in development, but that got shelved before it came out, too. A lot of weird things happened with that last wave, so I think I'm going to do a separate video on that. But in terms of Studio Series, I mean, just look at the history of the line. It's the longest running Transformers toy line we've ever gotten. It's one of the highest selling ever. So many of the figures are hard to find, especially some of the earlier figures. And if we're talking SS86, you look at the regular mainline generations, you get a few figures like that here and there a year, but not to the level of Studio Series where basically almost every release every year becomes sought after like, I don't know, 6 months, a year or two after being out. So just based off of longevity, sales, and just how sought after so many of the figures in the toy line are, just looking at that, you can already tell that Studio Series is going to go down as one of the greatest Transformers toy lines of all time, and easily one of the most popular of all time. I mean, you look at the average Transformers fan, they look to the Studio Series line the most. That's just how it is nowadays. I mean, I love the regular mainline generations as much as anybody else, but is it going to give me a new Leader class Dark of the Moon Megatron? No, it didn't. So, I mean, you know, the Studio Series subline and toy line in general is one of the greatest toy lines, and probably the greatest Generations line Hasbro has produced yet. Now, they could be rebranded one day. We could get a better ongoing movie toy line at some point, or a regular Generations line one day that blows Studio Series out of the water. I'm not saying that's not going to happen one day, but for right now, Studio Series definitely is. And especially if they start branching out and doing some Prime characters, more video game stuff, animated characters, trans tech, like what the designers in charge at Hasbro have been talking about doing the last couple years with Studio Series. It first started off with SS86 and Gamer Edition and Concept Art Series, and now they're looking into doing cartoon stuff, comic book stuff, and canceled stuff such as trans tech. So the future in general, if they really do move forward with a lot of those lineups, it's going to be amazing. Studio Series is easily going to be the best Generations line ever made, and it already is right now, in terms of my opinion at least. But yeah, guys, I don't want to talk about this too much longer. I just want to make a quick video saying that I think Studio Series is probably the greatest Transformers line Hasbro has made. If you guys disagree with me in the comments, feel free to let me know why. And if you guys agree with me, let me know why as well. All my social medias are linked down below, including my email if you guys want to hit me up about business inquiries, if you want to message me about whatever, or if you want to commission a diorama from me, because I make dioramas for people for their stop motions, photography, or irregular display shelves in your homes. You could either hit me up on any of my social media accounts or just email me and we can work out a deal. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video. Catch y'all in the next one. Bye!